What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to the Dream Home Build series. Today's video is not necessarily about the Dream Home Build, but as you can see, we made a lot of progress in just a matter of about 3 months and a week. Hopefully I finish this full project in under 4 months. But today's video is not about the Dream Home Build itself. It's about what is taking place right behind the Dream Home Build, which is my very first pool build. So this is going to be episode 3 of my pool build. And if you're new here, then hit the subscribe button and also let me catch you up to speed on what happened in episode 1 and episode 2 of my first pool build. So in episode 1 of the pool build series, the excavation crew showed up and they used the pool blueprints that I had drawn by a pool designer that make up the design and the details for this pool and also for the pool deck area. And those pool blueprints gave them the measurements they needed to know to measure off of the existing house outwards to be able to lay out the exact location of the future pool using string lines and form boards. After they had the perimeter formed up, they got right to digging, and for this relatively small pool, they used a regular size skid steer to dig the hole, which made easy work of the pool dig because they completed the full dig by about 12 o'clock on day 1. Now for the second half of day number 1, the steel rebar crew showed up and they installed all the steel rebar into this pool. And let me tell you, this pool is jam-packed full of a lot of steel rebar, so hopefully it's really strong, not going to cause me any problems or fail in the future because it's not strong enough. So on day number 2 of the pool build, the plumber showed up and completed the rough plumbing, and then at that point everything was prepped and ready to go for gunite. So on day 3, the gunite crew showed up, shot in all the gunite, smoothed everything out, cleaned up, and got out of here. And that made up episode 1 and episode 2 of the pool build series. Now since then, I had to take about the first 10 days after the gunite was shot in and run a sprinkler back and forth 6 hours a day for the first 10 days. So that saturated this whole entire area, kind of made it not a really good working environment, but it gave it the best environment to cure and not crack in the future. So for the first 10 days, just back and forth, a lot of water, got everything cured up nice and good. And then I had the plumber come out and finish up the rough plumbing, where he ran all of the plumbing lines from the pool over to the equipment pad area. After he finished, the electrician showed up and did a little bit and did his and he ran his underground electrical lines for the 3 pool lights. And now here we are today. The tile and coping crew just showed up and got started this morning installing the tile and coping. So let's go check it out. So I'm going to take a seat here on the edge of my spa. I'm going to show you kind of what we got going on. So here, all this gray material is bare gunite. This is the gunite that got shot in on day 3 of the pool build. And this gunite is essentially like concrete material. The only difference is that it does not have large aggregate or large rocks inside of it like concrete does. So in the end, all of this gunite, the shell of the pool, is going to get covered with some kind of decorative material, and you will never see this again unless you tear it all out. So the plan is to install this tile and this coping on the pool build, essentially like so. And then below this, we're going to install a plaster, which is going to be under the water. You'll feel it on the walls and also whenever you walk with your feet. So here at the water line, this is our water line tile. It is a white mosaic tile, relatively simple, whitish, neutral color. And then here's our coping. I believe this is a marble material, but it is going to go here on top and overhang about 2 inches on either side. Let me just say that freaking shopping for contemporary or modern style tile and coping is a real pain, and I live in Houston, one of the biggest cities in America, and they just have a terrible selection even at the largest supplier. So I'm very happy we're able to select this neutral, satisfying material, and now it's time to install it. So let's go. Alright you guys, it has probably been 2 or 3 weeks since anyone has done anything on the exterior of my house on this project because it has been rain after rain, and all that's really left to do on the exterior is finish the pool, install the septic system, and then also do the landscaping. And whenever the ground is soaking wet, you can't really do any of those things. Here you can see this little nook where we're doing the pool equipment, and it is nasty. Unfortunately, this doesn't drain the best right now because of the way the dirt is. It's been like that since the beginning of the build. There's been a hole in that area and it is holding water, and it's been holding water. So I intend on putting concrete pad there for the pool equipment, and that's going to be a fun, messy job for whoever does that, because they're going to have to protect the white stucco, get all that water out of there somehow, regrade this with dirt, and make all that water go this way, make sure it's all perfectly flat. But anyways, there's the pool. One other problem I've been dealing with on this build is keeping this white stucco clean. You can see dirt right there, dirt all on this corner, and I've probably spent about $400 on this hay that has kept most of the house clean for the most part, but it's kind of unavoidable when contractors are coming in here, working in this area, digging a trench. The contractors don't put the hay back, and then boom, it sticks on the stucco, and it does not necessarily come off with a water hose. Instead, it like stains it. So I don't know if I'm just going to have a very expensive touch-up job from the stucco contractor when this house is done or what, because yeah, we're going to have to freaking do a lot of touch-up or a full second coat of the white stuff. I don't know. But that's a conversation for another day. So let's check out the current condition of the pool and what is next, because got some big expensive things coming. So here's the pool. They did finish the tile and coping, which looks fantastic. All the coping all the way around the pool is finished. All the tile is finished. Let's go check it out on the inside. I think these guys did a great job, and I actually decided to hire them for the next part of the build and give them some more work. Talk about that here in a second, but here's the tile work. And this tile, of course, goes on the water line, which looks very dirty right now, but it goes on the water line all the way around the pool. Just 6 inches here, all the way around the pool. It's dirty, so it don't look the best, but that's okay. Can't step down here because it's wet. It also wraps all the way around the columns, and then here on the spa, they did a good job with this corner. Looks nice and clean. And then also here in this 45 area, the tiles just seamlessly joined together. And that's all the tile and coping work. So the next part of the pool build is actually the pool deck. And I had a decision to make whether I wanted to do a concrete deck, just regular concrete all the way around the pool, or put a coating of some sort on top of it, like a cool deck or stamped concrete or paint it or something like that. But I just kind of felt like that was the cheaper, uglier option, and I decided to go elsewhere, or another route, which was pavers. At first I didn't really consider pavers because pavers are, at least I thought, would be much more expensive. But whenever I got a price for this little small pool deck, it came out to like $8 a foot, came out to like 4 or 5 grand. And I checked the price on the paver material, and I talked to the paver contractor, and it came out to like $3,000 in material, $3,000 in labor. So I'm going to be paying somewhere in between $6,000 to $7,000 for the paver deck instead of the concrete option with the cool deck on top of it. And I think it'll just look much more luxurious and much nicer. So I plan to do about 5 or 10 foot off this wall, I can't even recall, of pavers. They're going to come this way. And then of course they're going to go in between the patio and the pool. Paver deck going that way. Right here we have to do a drain of some sort. This is going to be interesting. Right along this seam where the pavers are going to meet the concrete, because that water, all the water that comes in this area is going to go to this drain. The pool's deck is going to slope this way. The porch patio concrete is going to slope this way right into that drain, which is going to hopefully carry the water somewhere else and get the water out of here. Also, this whole roof line right here is getting a gutter, very long run of roof, and the downspouts are going to go right here down this post, and then I have to dig a trench and put in a 4-inch pipe that is going to carry the water right out there and somehow get the water out from this area. So this is a little bit of a drainage issue, problematic area, but hopefully I think we have a good plan as far as downspouts and underground drainage and this little deco drain or something for, anyways, get the drainage good on it. So the pool deck area essentially is going to wrap around the pool on these 3 sides. It's going to go this way, of course. So walking on pool deck here, pavers going this way. It's also going to keep going this way, but right here we're going to do a 10-foot Trex decking pool deck, I guess we'll call that, but that doesn't come until after the paver deck, so that's probably going to start in about a week or 2. Trex decking pool deck for some lounge chairs, but the paver deck is going to keep going right here. This is my master bedroom exit, so we'll have somewhere to step out onto. It's going to keep going all the way over here and essentially going to stop in this area. Actually, it's going to go right to this door, stop, and then on the other side is the equipment pad where we will do a concrete pool deck, just regular concrete for the equipment to set on. I thought about doing pavers there, but is it really worth the money to be putting pavers under a bunch of pool equipment? Probably not. So I'm paying like $400 or $500 for that concrete pool deck, pool equipment pad right there. But that is what is next on this pool build. The tile and coping went great. I think it turned out great, looks great, looks just neutral, kind of matches the style of the house. Now we're going to install the paver pool deck next, and also the pool equipment pad. I think that's going to take probably a week because there's a lot of prep work that goes into it. They can't just come out here and lay pavers on top of the ground the way it is. Instead, they have to take out a bunch of dirt, bring in new material like crushed concrete or some kind of base material, compact it down with a compactor, get everything nice and perfectly level, flat, so it all drains the right way, and then install the pavers on top, of course, which I'm sure is going to take a little bit of time. I'm sure most of the prep work is what takes most of the time. We will learn together because I don't know too much about pavers. Haven't done too much of them in my life. So we'll get the paver deck installed, and then we'll move on to the Trex decking. Then all that's left, I think, will be installing the pool equipment and maybe just shooting the plaster in the pool, which that's one of the very last things on the pool build. So making progress slowly but surely. If we can avoid some rain, I think we have some more rain coming up. Today's Friday. I think we have rain in the forecast for Sunday and Monday, which is right in the middle of this paver deck plan. So who knows, we may never finish this home build if it doesn't dry up, because can't do the septic, can't do the landscape with a freaking mud fest out here, and it's only just causing more problems. So God, please no more rain so we can get this freaking project done and move on with our life. Y'all stay tuned. Paver contractor showing up soon, and we'll get started on the pool deck.
One eternity later.
The paver pool deck is fully finished. I'm so far over budget on this project. It is like kind of sickening. And I know I've said in a couple videos, you know, it's just money, I can just go make more of it. Well, that's kind of been the case. I'm so far over budget that my videoing and my content on the build has kind of started to fall off towards the end of this project because I'm so far over budget. And this is real life stuff where I have to put the content to the side and go focus on making a significant amount of money to cover my out-of-pocket expense, because the bank is only lending so much to me to be able to finish this project, build this project. And with that said, I'm like 6 figures more over budget than what I anticipated. So that's a lot of money that I have to make up here in a relatively short amount of time to, you know, just finish the project and be financially stable for my family and still be able to provide and so on. This is real life. So yeah, I've kind of been slacking on the content a little bit. I'm sorry I did not get any clips of them actually installing these pavers, but let's check out the finished product. So here it is, paver deck. Comes around, wraps into the pool equipment area, but we're going to talk about that later. So here's the pool deck. It turned out great. You know, to be honest, I think it came out a little bit lighter in color than I anticipated. It's pretty bright, and I'm not saying it's hurting my eyes, but it's almost there. It's pretty bright. You can see the contrast, the difference between the concrete for the patio, which is really dirty. It's going to get cleaned off, and then the actual pool. But I think it goes great with the colors of the house, and it turned out great. And to my knowledge, all they did is they came in and they removed maybe 4 to 6 inches of the existing dirt material, and they wheelbarrowed that out somewhere else, dumped it out in the yard. And then they brought in some, I think it's called Stabiline. He called it Stabiline. I thought it was called Stabilize, but he called it Stabiline sand. And he put that down to make everything compacted. He used a compactor to compact everything down. And then lastly, they used what I think is called torpedo sand, filled in a couple inches. That made everything perfectly flat. And then of course just laid the pavers in some sort of pattern, complicated name pattern, which makes up the paver deck. And they turned out fantastic. All that is left to do now is clean off this area. He's supposed to be coming back to pressure wash all this area off, pressure wash all the pavers, And then lastly, put on a sealer that's gonna cost me like 700 bucks on all of the pavers. Actually, they need to grout it with some polymeric grout or something that's gonna fill all these joints, and it's gonna grout all the lines. And then lastly, they're gonna put a sealer on it, which hopefully does not change the color too much. But obviously the sealer is supposed to protect it and keep it from getting stained by people walking on it with dirty feet and whatnot. And then that is it for the Paver Deck. Of course, I will go over all the cost for each part of this video at the very end of the video, so stay tuned for that. But now we're about to move on. So now we're moving on to the Trex Deck, which is going to be 16 foot long by 10 foot wide. And I bought 16 foot Trex boards, so that should work out perfectly. There should be no cuts, should just be 16 foot continuous Trex boards. Should look great, and we're gonna try to make it flush in elevation to the height of this Paver Deck, so there's no step up. I personally do not like steps in houses because it's, I guess call it like accessibility between older people walking in and out of the house or around the house, or even young people like kids, or even myself or my wife. It's just like a tripping hazard, and obviously it's a little bit more hazardous for the younger kids and also for the older people. And I just don't like steps. So I'm gonna try to make it flush with a Paver Deck so there's no step going up or down. I don't want my baby to hit it, trip, fall in the pool, hit their head on the pool deck, and also for my baby's grandparents, my parents. So we're gonna try to make that flush so there's no step up. We do have a couple problems, and that is that the pool plumbing, I just met with the contractor who's gonna be doing the labor on it. And you can see I drew a little line in the dirt there and a line this way. I'll pop up a photo that shows exactly where the pool plumbing lines are on this pool, and all the pool plumbing lines wrap right here, and then they go right under this Paver Deck and stick out a little bit and go to the pool equipment, all to the pool equipment around the corner. So the area outside of these lines that I drew is green. You can dig and set posts and pour footings, whatever you need to do for the structure. But here, it's gonna be very difficult to install any post in this area. I told him we're just gonna dig down and be as careful as possible, find the pipes, and if it's possible to set a post in this area around the pipes, well then most certainly we need to do so that the structure is strong, it doesn't move or cause any problems in the future. But if it's impossible, we're gonna have to find some other solution. So I guess stay tuned, we'll figure out exactly how we're gonna do that. One thing I proposed is that here's the gunite wall. You see, here's the coping. Well, down here is the actual gunite, if you can remember back. And this gunite is very strong. So I propose that we clean this gunite area off very well and then dig this dirt out, and we install maybe a 2x6 or a 2x4, like a ledge right here, nail it into the gunite wall, and then install our Trex boards on top of that. I know that may be one solution for adding structural strength to the area that we can't really set a post in, but that's to be determined. Also, one little detail, you can see a paver is falling off here, which is not great considering I just got the Paver Deck done. But one thing they did on this Paver Deck is they installed this little border of concrete, and this is to keep all the pavers from, of course, falling off and moving. Well, we had to cut it back here because if it was there, then the Trex boards could not come up flush to the Paver Deck like I want it. I want everything just perfectly flush. So I had to have the paver contractor cut this concrete border out in this area. We're gonna put the Trex boards flush to the Paver Deck, and then I'm gonna have the paver contractor come back and do any kind of touch-ups if needed to reset those couple pieces of pavers. So yeah, we're about to move on to the Trex decking. Should take probably a day and a half to 2 days to get this deck finished. And then that will wrap up the entire surround of the pool. And I think at that point, all we'll be left to do is install 2 fire bowls, shoot the plaster, and then fill the pool up full of water over the course of the next 2 weeks, because hopefully that's when this house will be finished. So let's get this Trex decking deck installed. About a midway update on the Trex deck that is going in the backyard. They made all this progress in day 1, which yesterday what they did is they laid out the shape of the deck using string lines and some stakes, got everything laid out square and level. and to the height and elevation we wanted it, so that the finished Trex boards that get installed on top of this frame are flush with this coping. So there's no steps right here. And I don't think I said it in this video, but I really don't like stepping up or stepping down anywhere on the exterior of the house or entering or exiting the house. And one mistake I kind of learned from is, this is on the building plans where the foundation got poured in. This back patio got poured in the exact same time as the concrete in the house. You can see there's a polished flooring here. This is just a raw broom finish on the patio, but you can see there's about a 3-inch step down right there where you have to step up and step down to enter and exit the house. And you do that for a couple reasons. One reason is that if any water does get in here, blows in by the wind, it does not keep going and enter into the house. Now right here we have like 15-20 foot of coverage, so that's really not possible, but I believe that's the main reason for it, is to keep water from coming in, getting all the way to the door sill, and then passing through the house. So there's that little step down. Well, in the future, I'm going to make sure to tell the architect, hey, I do not want any step ups or step downs anywhere on the building plans. That way, whenever you walk out of the back door, you don't have to step down. You just take a normal step, walk right out. And instead of putting an actual step, we'll just put a little bit more of a slope. So anyways, I know it's a little off topic, but that's the reason why I did the Trex Deck flush with the Paver Deck here, so that there's no step up or step down. You can see, unfortunately, the air conditioning contractor tracked quite a bit of mud here on the top of the Paver Deck this morning whenever he installed the 2 AC units. And that's not good, because this mud stuff will stain the pavers, and they will stain because I have not got them sealed yet. Tomorrow, the paver contractor is going to come. He's going to pressure wash all of this back patio and the pavers, get them all nice and clean, and he's actually going to apply a sealer. That way they can be protected and they won't get stained from any dirt and whatnot. He's also going to grout the pavers. But now, here's the update on the Trex decking. We actually are framing this out of 2x4s with posts like every 2 or 3 feet. You see the posts are scattered through there. 2x4s, 12 inches on center, should be strong enough so that when you walk, there's no real bend to the Trex decking. And one thing I kind of decided to do last minute, kind of on my own, because I was concerned with the water that's going to pass through the Trex decking boards and sit right under the deck boards here in this mud pit. Obviously those things are not waterproof, so water will pass through. And I kind of was thinking, what exactly are we going to do to allow water to escape out? And I'll show you. I don't really want to walk over there, but I'll do it from here. You see, this is going to be essentially the top of the Trex deck. And I'm going to put the dirt right up to the top of this 2x4, which is also going to be roughly right here. And that is going to block any drainage whatsoever from any water that gets under the Trex decking, because all the dirt is going to go right up to the 2x4. So this water that passes through the Trex deck is not going to have anywhere to escape. So I talked with the installers, and they're installing a drain box. Let me see if I can walk on this. Ooh. So they're installing that inlet drain box where any water that comes through these deck boards can drain to that inlet and then out of that pipe. That way this is not just a mud fest 24/7, or at least every time it rains, which is of course going to attract mosquitoes and other insects and whatnot. So let me know what y'all think about that idea. I'll make sure to get a clip once they get it finished to see, does it actually drain, or was it a waste of time and waste of money? But I'm curious what you guys actually do whenever you install a Trex decking. For you deck contractors out there, how do you deal with the drainage under the bottom of the deck? Because the way I'm doing the grading is going to block all the water that gets under there. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section of that idea. Right now we're going to finish up the frame of 2x4s. Looks like they have maybe 6 to 8 more joists to install, and then we're actually going to start installing the Trex board. So let's get it done. So in about a week and a half or 2 weeks from today, hopefully I moved into this house, sitting right here on my backyard patio with this is my view, which I think is turning out quite nice. You see we got the pool tile and coping installed. We got the Paver Deck also installed that goes around the pool. And then lastly, on the right side of the pool, we got the Trex Deck finally finished up. And And while I'm right here, let me give a little tour of what my backyard patio looks like. We'll start on this side. Here's kind of the full view of it. Starts out kind of skinny and then opens up around the corner and gets really big. On the top, we got tongue and groove ceilings that actually just got stained and the seal coat finished today. You can see we got these cool lights up at the top. They're like $80 each, so I bought 7 of those. So it was like $600 in these outdoor lights. We're gonna have some seating, of course, couches, chairs, maybe a little fireplace. And then over here on this wall, we got a grill. It's like an outdoor kitchen. We got a grill, it's like $2,500. We got a sink area with a faucet, some really cool countertop on the top there. And then on this wall, we're putting a huge TV, you know, big as you can buy without getting extremely out of hand, like 80 inches or 90-inch TV. And I looked at the prices comparing it from a outdoor TV type to an indoor TV type. And for like the 80-incher, it was like $5 grand for an outdoor TV or $2 grand for an indoor TV. So I don't think I'm gonna be able to talk myself into spending an extra $4 grand for the outdoor TV type, even though I'm sure it stands up better to the elements and it's probably a brighter TV, so there's not any glaring and whatnot. But given that there's this huge overhang, I think from this doorstep to the gutter, which is the last part of the overhang, is probably 20 feet or so. This thing is not really gonna have any water hitting it. It's also not gonna have too much sunlight hitting it. You can see it's in a shaded area. So I'm gonna decide to just do a regular indoor TV there. But that's my outdoor patio condition right now. Still got a little bit of finishing up to do, but let's take a look at what we finished here in this video. You see we got the tile and coping all finished. Turned out great. And that led me and my wife into the decision of doing a paver deck instead of a concrete deck that matches the coping seamlessly, flows perfectly, also wraps around going this way. We'll keep on going. One of my favorite things about this paver deck is that you get to do these custom skimmer tops. So inside of this top, which is kind of heavy, which I guess that might be a downside, this is the skimmer box. We'll have to open this pretty frequently to clean that skimmer basket out. And this skimmer top here is custom, made out of a paver, so it matches everything perfectly in comparison to those cheap plastic skimmer tops that come with it that get cracked and they're hard to get in and out and they're ugly and whatnot. So that's one of my favorite features of this paver deck. Pavers are definitely much more luxury than the concrete pool deck with like a cool deck or a spray on top of it or a paint on top of concrete. This is a more luxurious option. It is more expensive. I think I could have did a concrete pool deck for like $5 grand, but I ended up paying somewhere around $6 or $7 or maybe $8,000 for this paver deck, which we'll go over the numbers here in just a second. Lastly, here is the Trex Deck, which turned out great. You can see it's perfectly level here, so there's no step down. Everything just boom, perfect. And I know I'm probably gonna get roasted a little bit in the comments section on the Trex Deck, and I know everybody out there knows how to install a deck besides me, I guess. I've never built a deck. I've never worked with Trex decking material specifically, so I don't know nothing about building a deck. So this was all a first to me, and I think there's 2 main mistakes that I learned from and that I will attempt to do better in the future. The first one being that here's the deck. Well, every single outside board, it's like a picture frame. Every single outside board is like a trim piece. Well, you can see these outside boards have to get face screwed. Well, the installer used the wrong type of screw and it caused this like mushroom head effect where the decking just kind of popped up and it looks really ugly. They make a special type of screw here for composite decking, and that is not the screws he used, therefore we got that ugly mishap there. But over here you can see we use the hidden fasteners, which looks great. So mistake number 1, learn from that and put the correct type of screws whenever you are going to face screw a trim board. Now the next one is obviously the more obvious one, which is the drainage for this deck. I know that I had the contractors at the last minute put in a catch basin under this deck that should hopefully catch most of the water and then carry it out under the pool deck where they ran a pipe outside of the fence where the water is going to go. Hopefully it catches most of the water, although I know that is probably not the exact correct way to do this. Going back, I for sure should have installed at the minimum a landscape fabric Or probably the best thing would be landscape fabric plus fill in all of the frame with a gravel. I think that would just help weeds from growing up through. It would help keep bugs and mosquitoes and pests away and all other kind of problems that could come up with just water sitting under this pool deck. Again, it's mistakes I made. I'm going to learn from them. I'll do better in the future. If you know what I should have done under this Trex deck, then let me know in the comment section, because I'm sure, like I said, everybody knows how to build a wood deck except me. So let me know. One other cool thing we did here on the Paver Deck is the drainage. So you see right here where the patio concrete meets the pool deck, we put in a deco drain. And all of this concrete slopes this way, and then the Paver Deck slopes this way. So all of this water will get caught inside of the drain and get carried out through a pipe outside of the pool deck. So there should be no drainage issues whatsoever. So that's all of the items on the pool build we got completed in this video. We also did the pool plumbing and the pool electrical, which, you know, is just not very interesting, at least to 99% of the population, excluding those plumbers probably. So I did not include very much about the pool plumbing. Pretty much they just freaking dug a trench all the way around the pool and ran it all the way around the corner to where the pool equipment is gonna go, which we'll go over the pool equipment in the next video, but that's what happened in this video. Okay, now for the full cost breakdown of everything you saw take place here in this video. First, starting with the tile and the coping material, and that was $2,493. And then for one contractor to install all of the tile and coping, $3,821. So that makes the grand total for the tile and coping part of the pool build $6,314. Next is the Paver Deck that goes all the way around the pool. The Paver Deck material costs $2,956, and the Paver Deck labor, $3,600. And then there was an additional $700 cost for him to come back out here and seal the entire pool deck. So that makes the total for the Paver pool deck $7,256. And then lastly, the last thing we saw here in this video is the Trex decking, which I purchased the actual Trex material and the hidden screw fastener system. So those two components I purchased from McCoy's Building Supply for $2,493. And then I paid a contractor to provide the frame material, which was the 2x4s and the 4x4 post and everything else, as well as the labor to install everything. And I paid him $3,500. So that makes the total for the wood deck that I'm standing on right here, $5,917. So if I add all that up with the rest of my cost on the pool build that I've paid to get it to this point, that brings my total cost to right now to $43,928. And I think at this point, all I have left to do is shoot the plaster into the pool. Somehow I have to make sure the pool equipment is working. I know we haven't gone over that in this video. I'll make sure to go over my pool equipment in the next video, in the plaster video. But I know between now and then, I have to do a couple things. I have to make sure that my pool equipment works. I think the electrician has to come back. But I need to make sure that works, because I can't do the plaster until I make sure that stuff is working. So I need to make sure my pool equipment is working. And then coming up this week, we're going to be doing the pool plaster. And it's very similar to the Gunite process, where they have a truck on the street, a hose, and then get in there and shoot it and smooth it out, shoot it into the pool and smooth it out. So this week we're doing the pool plaster. And then also I need to make sure my pool equipment is working. And then all that's left after that is move into the house, which at that point we will have filled up the pool full of water, and hopefully it's ready to swim in by the time we get moved in. So that's gonna wrap up today's video. Make sure to hit the subscribe button down below if you're not yet subscribed. And also, if you're interested in learning how to become an owner builder, then click the link in the top of my description to check out my digital course where I teach everyone how to become an owner builder, like I've done for myself, where I've built 2 other houses that I've kept as rental properties, and they are now cash flowing, making me mailbox money every single month. And then now, obviously, my 3rd home build, where I'm building my dream house, about to move into it with my family, have a kid on the way. So home building has changed my life, and if you are interested in doing the same, then click the link down below in the top of the description. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you on the next video. Before I check out, I just want to talk about something here on my channel. I got about 2 weeks before I finish this project and get moved in. And so something that has became pretty important to me, and I've been thinking about it almost daily now, is what's next. Ever since I started building homes and started investing in real estate, I've just been taking on super risky investments and projects, considering my age and my experience, and also considering my financial situation, because to be completely honest with you, I don't have $1 million sitting in the bank. I just don't. So I'm trying to figure out what is next. I'm certainly willing to keep taking risky investments and making risky decisions so that it'll pay off in the future and make my life a little easier in the future, so I don't have to work freaking 15 hours a day like I'm doing right now. So just one thing I'm thinking about is what is next. And if you're still watching this video, then you probably care about my channel, so I'm interested in your input. Some things that come across my mind are, I want to keep creating content and I want to keep being different from everybody else. And I feel like I already am, but I don't want to be repetitive. So I just don't want to go out and build another single family rental house and then another single family rental house. Instead, I'm thinking about doing something different, like maybe building a commercial storage facility. I mean, buying the commercial land, doing the planning, building a full commercial storage facility, whether that be RV storage, boat storage, or just small self-storage or something like that. That's one option. Or I've thought about buying a couple acres and developing a relatively small community of like 10 homes and owning all of them and keeping them as rentals. Maybe building like a small apartment complex, or maybe building a fourplex. What do you call that? A triplex or a fourplex, or 4 townhomes. Keep them. You know, long story short, I want to keep everything that I build and invest my time and money into. So let me know down in the comment section, what do you think is something that is interesting and that you're interested in seeing me try to do here in my early real estate investing career. Other than that, I'll check out now. I appreciate you guys for watching. I'll catch you on the next one on whatever that video may be.